There is a number that most financial advice completely ignores. Not $1 million, not six figures, not even 50,000, $10,000. And I know what you are thinking. 10,000 is not that much money. You cannot retire on it. You cannot buy a house with it. You cannot quit your job with it. But here is what nobody tells you about $10,000. It is not about what you can buy with it. It is about what it does to your brain. Before you have $10,000 saved, your entire financial life operates on one mode: survival mode. Every decision you make with money is filtered through one question. Can I afford this right now? Not, is this a good long-term decision? Not, what does this cost me in 5 years? Just, do I have enough right now to survive? This is not a personality flaw. This is biology. When your brain perceives financial scarcity, it triggers the same stress response as a physical threat. Cortisol spikes. Decision-making narrows. You stop thinking about the future and start thinking about getting through the week. Research from Princeton University found that financial scarcity consumes cognitive bandwidth the equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. 13 points. That is the same cognitive impact as going a full night without sleep. You are not bad with money. You are tired every single day. So when you are living paycheck to paycheck, you are literally operating at reduced mental capacity every day. You take the first job offer because you cannot afford to wait for a better one. You stay in the apartment you hate because moving costs money you do not have. You say yes to the extra shift even though you are exhausted because saying no feels too risky. And here is the thing about survival mode that makes it so hard to escape. It feels responsible. Saying yes to the shift feels like being a good employee. Staying in the cheap apartment feels like being smart with money. Taking the first job offer feels like not being picky. The trap is designed to feel like discipline. Now let us talk about what happens at $10,000. Not at $100,000, not at $50,000. 10. The first thing that changes is not your bank account. It is your nervous system. When you have $10,000 sitting somewhere that is not your checking account, a specific psychological shift happens. Your brain stops treating every unexpected expense as a catastrophe. Your car needs $400 in repairs. Before $10,000, this is a crisis. This ruins the month. This causes physical stress. After $10,000, this is annoying. You pay it. You move on. This is not a small thing. The constant low-level stress of financial fragility costs you more than money. It costs you sleep. It costs you focus. It costs you the mental energy to think about anything beyond immediate survival. $10,000 does not make you rich. $10,000 makes you calm, and calm is where better decisions come from. Here is the second thing that changes: your relationship with your job. Before $10,000, you need your job. You need it the way you need air. Because without it, you have nothing between you and disaster. This need is visible. Your boss can feel it. Your coworkers can feel it. Everyone in the room with negotiating power can feel it. Desperation is not just uncomfortable. It is expensive. When you need the job too much, you cannot ask for a raise. The worst-case scenario of that conversation, losing the job, is too catastrophic to risk. So, you stay silent. And every year you stay silent about your salary is another year of falling behind. $10,000 changes this completely. Not because you would actually quit tomorrow. You probably would not. You like your job fine. But because you could. And could is the most powerful word in a salary negotiation. Research from Harvard Business School found that employees with 3 to 6 months of savings saved negotiate salaries on average 18% higher than those without a financial cushion. 18%. On a $55,000 salary, that is $9,900 per year. Every year. From one conversation you were too afraid to have before you had the cushion. Now let us talk about the math of $10,000 itself, because this is where people underestimate what they are building. $10,000 invested in a basic index fund at 8% annual return generates $800 per year. Passively, without you doing anything. $800 is not retirement money, but it is also not nothing. Here's what $800 actually means. It is 2 months of your phone bill, it is 3 months of your streaming subscriptions, it is one car payment, it is money you did not earn by working, money that arrived because your money was working instead of you. For most people, this is the first time in their lives they have ever experienced this, and it changes something fundamental about how they see money. But here is the moment nobody talks about. The moment you realize the money is doing something while you are asleep. You wake up. You did not work last night. You did not hustle. You did not take a side gig. And the number is slightly higher than it was. That moment rewires your relationship with money permanently. Now let us talk about the second 10,000, because this is where the math gets unfair in your favor. Getting from 0 to 10,000 is the hardest 10,000 you will ever save. You are doing it entirely through discipline. Every dollar comes from you working and choosing not to spend it. Getting from 10,000 to 20,000 is different. Your first 10,000 is now helping. At 8% return, your first 10,000 generates $800 in year 1. You are still saving the same amount you were before. But now you have an extra $800 working alongside your discipline. The second 10,000 takes less time, not because you are saving more, because the first 10,000 is doing its job, and the third 10,000 takes even less time. This is compound interest, not as an abstract concept, as something you actually feel happening. Here is something that almost nobody tells you about the $10,000 milestone. It changes who you are, not metaphorically, literally. To save $10,000 starting from 0, you had to develop a set of skills and identity that most people never build. You had to track where your money was going, every dollar, for months. You had to say no to things you wanted, consistently, not once, repeatedly. You had to maintain discipline when your friends were spending and you were saving. And here is what that means. By the time you reach $10,000, you have already become the kind of person who can reach $100,000. The money is proof, not of luck, not of income, of identity. You are now someone who builds rather than spends, and that identity is worth more than the $10,000 itself. Now, here's the warning, and this is important. Most people hit $10,000 and immediately blow it. They feel the psychological shift. They feel more secure, and that security feels like permission. Permission to finally buy that thing they have been denying themselves. Permission to take the vacation they delayed. Permission to upgrade the car. Do not do this. $10,000 is not the finish line. $10,000 is the launch pad. The psychological shift you feel at $10,000 is not telling you to spend. It is telling you what is possible if you keep going. The freedom you feel at $10,000 is a preview of the freedom you build permanently at $50,000. At $100,000, beyond. Here is what $10,000 actually does. It stops the bleeding. It gives your brain room to think past next week. It changes your posture at work. It starts compounding quietly while you sleep. It proves to you that you are the kind of person who builds, and it shows you, for the first time, what money working for you actually feels like. Most people spend their entire lives one unexpected expense away from disaster. The goal of $10,000 is simple. Stop being that person.